Abuzia Kwaba about the POG Media. So I'm going to say POG there. Say it's not to say not to say yeah Ghana. So my Ghana political stories maybe and I de eba some number who the echo and the urban in our my Ghana political space. Nabuzia. Message on subscribe to POG and the account subscribe pro subscription. A bo e de ryan si man e de ni enso e de bo e de ra e efficacy me the parliament and randa a year mentimo wasi bi enso ko so ani na ne say a year the former finance minister ebra ono so etu bata so ko prior hwe no a year Afenyo makin enso ekogina parliament anim eko share parliament bo say ono so be hwe ama K.Ofori asa back na je say a year charges and I send the prosecution no almost also to be back out the never back out the investigation and so it's me cause not just say yeah court no back on not just say almost so it so it does a bit jano and also back with them now when I Endra a year Andra a year the majority leader a year Mahama Ayariga and so it's German not just also a busano a year K.Ofori or to be share a year parliament in the board so the name banner or him fan so a quiet banter of ma and also a home same idea but we are amazing better brain for a story.
Tonight, leaders of both sides in Parliament exchanged words over former Finance Minister K.Ofori's whereabouts. Now, K.Ofori, whose extradition to the country to face 28 counts of corruption and causing financial loss to the state, have been unsuccessful so far. Months ago, when Ofori's medical team in the U.S. requested more time to allow him undergo treatment before returning to the country to face the OSP at the time, it was also at this time the minority leader Alexander Afenyo told the House he will be returned. So now, let's put this whole issue into perspective. We'll walk back the timeline. We'll take you now to February. Take a look.
Giving assurances to the House that in the interests of democracy, in the rule of law, and to assure the nation that this side of the House will do all it can to ensure that the member, the Honorable K.Ofori avails himself to attend upon the OSP. Indeed, I pursued it, I engaged him extensively, and his lawyers, Mr. Speaker, in a letter dated today, the 18th of February 2025, have written to the OSP, and for the avoidance of doubt, I shall read the content aloud. It's addressed to the Special Prosecutor, our redirection to attend the Office of Special Prosecutor. It reads, we acknowledge receipt of your letter dated the 17th of February 2025. We respectfully indicate that our client's post-mark date for his return cannot be any time before 6 to 8 weeks after the possible surgical intervention in March stated in the Mayo Clinic letter. Our client hopes that taking into account the surgery dated the 20th to 21st of March and recuperation period, he should be able to back to this jurisdiction between 14th May and 30th May 2025. We hope you find this date reasonable and same can guide your office in fixing a date for the in-person attendance of our client to your office for investigation. Having clarified the purpose and length of our client's absence,
Leader,
we hope that the tag of a wanted person.
Hold on, please. Yes, my majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, what the minority leader is doing is conveying a communication from the lawyers of Honorable K.Ofori to this House. Mr. Speaker, the rules of this House are clear on communications. If you go to Order 65, it is clear on communications to the House. Who qualifies to communicate to the House and who qualifies to convey the communication to the House? They are clearly spelled out in Order 65, and I think that what he's attempting to do is to convey a communication by the lawyers of K.Ofori to this House, which is clearly wrong. Mr. Speaker, it is clearly wrong to attempt to be the conveyor of communication from K.Ofori's lawyers to this House. I think that it is not acceptable, and we cannot accept communication from the lawyers of K.Ofori to this House. He is not a member of this House. He is not a Minister of State. And so there's no basis for this House to be receiving communication from the lawyers of K.Ofori. We haven't summoned him before any of our committees. He is not to appear before a committee. We are not investigating him. So on what basis is his lawyers communicating to us when he will come to Ghana, when he will not come to Ghana? So, Mr. Speaker, there is no basis for the communication to this House of the whereabouts of K.Ofori. And he is not qualified to convey that message to this House.
So the clip you just saw is from February, and the whole 9 years of debates that took place after the minority leader, Alexander Afenyo read that statement from lawyers of K.Ofori. And you heard the dates clearly. He needed 6 to 8 weeks for his surgery, and he couldn't be back in Ghana until getting to the end of, May. You recall that subsequent to that, he was taken off the wanted list because the OSP understood from his perspective that he needed time for medical attention. So then let's fast forward to June. In June, when Ofori did not come into the country, this matter came up in Parliament again. Take a look.
To stop doing what he's doing. Between us, at our level, when you rise up to raise a point of order, let it be a point of order. Let it not be on a frolic of your own, running all over the place. Please, this is not a point of order. At our level, you don't do that. Mr. Speaker, if I may say, he promised this House that he will bring K.Ofori in May. Where is K.Ofori? Where is K.Ofori? Where is Ken? Where is Ken? Where is Ken? You promised us that you will bring Ken to this House. He came to this House and made a promise. You promised this House that you will produce Ken. You will produce K.Ofori in May. We are in June. This is the 10th of June. Why is K.Ofori? Mr. Speaker, he should no longer be heard in this House. Because when he makes promises, he doesn't fulfill them. He comes here and makes promises and never fulfills them. And yet he is questioning other people's promises. When you made a promise, did you fulfill it?
Honourable members, honestly speaking,
Mr. Speaker,
I try as much as possible to accommodate leadership.
9 months since February, 5 months since June. K.Ofori is still not in the country. So today, the majority side, led by Mahama Ayariga, took the opportunity to remind his minority counterpart to produce the former finance minister, K.Ofori. Here's the showdown in Parliament.
To solicit an answer from an honorable minority leader. He gave us authoritative information that by February 18th, the honorable former finance minister was going to be in Ghana. So I'm saying, where is the former finance minister? I thought you were going to tell us his whereabouts. Ministers of finance who have occupied that office after their tenure, they remain in this country. Where is our former finance minister? Where is he?
The records would bear me out that indeed, when the respected former finance minister had issue with the OSP, which mattered the majority leader himself, came to apologize. He used the dispatch box to apologize on behalf of government for the mishandling of the whole matter. We as leaders owed a responsibility and a duty in the matter. I, right here, indicated that Mr. K.Ofori had written to the OSP through his lawyers that he was going to be in the country on or before May, not July. This was in February. Mr. Speaker, in the letter, Mr. K.Ofori again indicated that he had been booked for surgery. When the time came and his doctors further advised that the surgery will require some healing process, Mr. Speaker, he again wrote, this time not only a letter by his lawyers, the letter from his doctors. It is not a matter of I resigning or making a promise and failing to honor that. Let's put things in proper context. All I want Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim to understand is that when it comes to ill health, our medicals, all of us may go through it one way or the other. If a man is going through a serious medical condition, how many of us will be bold to disclose our medical records? But the man has disclosed his medical record. Mr. Speaker, that hospital where he's receiving treatment is a renowned medical hospital in the United States. Let's be fair to K.Ofori. Let's be fair. It can be you tomorrow.
Giving an impression that members on this side are insensitive to the medical condition of K.Ofori. That is the impression you have sought to give. Mr. Speaker, K.Ofori was very sick in this country. You could see the sickness in his face. By that time, it was sweet to be a finance minister. It was sweet to be a finance minister. In spite of the ill health, he persisted and insisted on remaining in this country as a finance minister. How come that suddenly, because today he is being sought after by the law enforcement agencies, he cannot live in this country and is claiming illness? He was sick when he was finance minister. We all saw it. He was sick.
Honorable members.
So that's the showdown in Parliament on the whereabouts of our former finance minister, K.Ofori.
Someone like his media, I need to call some medias over drop line. As I also subscribe to a POG Media as well, and 10 pounds over drop subscription. Now, by sharing of first answer, so it's me a cabin on who the echo and the air banana on my Ghana political space. Now, wait here, come here, is a bra, and also a band and a chassis say, cause on say more now, as we interested in the air majority, air leader, no, and so air can not as also air to question being a demand, air can't air Afenyo marking, so where is K.Ofori na chese omonso susu yemu no anaza omu ni se eye Afenyo market enso enim botaya enonso ewo ho a eye K.Ofori empese obebo ere my Ghana mabusu ame ese beto aso na etinsem na retrain balance.
First receiving treatment at the Obuasi Government Hospital. The incident occurred late last night while the team was heading to Obuasi after an operation at a concession in Anyatrim, which has been taken over by illegal miners. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources extended its sympathies to the family of the fallen soldier and conveyed heartfelt wishes for a swift recovery to the injured team members. The ministry has also initiated a full investigation into the circumstances surrounding the accident. The fight against illegal mining continues unabated. Now, Ghana is once again confronting a familiar question. Are we getting the value we deserve from natural resources that anchor our economy? At a policy dialogue, former Lands and Natural Resources Minister Inusa Fuseni called for reforms in the automatic renewal of mining licenses in Ghana.
A Dialogue Center brought together policymakers, researchers and civil society to examine a question Ghana has struggled with for decades: whether the country gets its fair share from its natural resources. Debate about foreign influence in Ghana's natural resource sector remains persistent, even as mining continues to contribute significantly to national revenue. Analysts argue that gaps in monitoring, licensing and contract negotiations reduce the value Ghana retains. Calls for reforms and greater transparency have increased.
Government is considering a policy that will remove the automatic renewal process of mining leases and ensure that there must be compelling reasons why a lease, a mining lease that is expired, could be renewed or extended. Now, and one of the reasons could be whether the mine's production and the benefits that has come to the country from the production has been equitable.
The issue about the fight against illegal mining also came up.
The first step in any activity to restore sanity in an environment or community is to use law and order. So those illegal miners are engaged in an illegal activity. And so the laws of Ghana ought to be enforced. And to enforce them, you need the security agencies to do it. I always ask a question. Why will people elect to do illegal mining when there is an opportunity to do it legally?
Member of Parliament for Isutifi South, Collins Dauda, highlighted what he believes are the major areas where the national interest is compromised.
So if you take the mining sector, for example, we have the Minerals and Mining Act of 2006, Act 703. That is the prevailing law. But this law was passed in 2006. So it means that we have worked with it for some time. And before that law was another law. There was a law before the 2006 one. But because circumstances changed, there was need for the country to have a new law to address circumstances at the time. Today, it is clear that there's need for us to change our laws again, and that is what government is doing.
Ghana's natural resource sector has long been criticized for the imbalance between state benefit and foreign profit. While mining contributes significantly to revenue, analysts say the country loses millions through tax exemptions, poorly monitored operations and contracts that lock Ghana into less favorable terms.
The Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa has announced that 169 Ghanaians have been deported from the United States to Ghana since January 2025. He says there are 120 Ghanaians currently awaiting final decisions by immigration officials to be deported to the country. Meanwhile, Mr. Ablakwa has told Parliament that Ghana has not requested monetary or material support from the United States for accepting third country deportees.
So far, Mr. Speaker, 388 Ghanaians have been in detention since January this year on immigration-related charges. Of this number, 120 are awaiting final decisions by the Board of Immigration Appeals. 49 have exhausted all legal processes and await final deportation arrangements. As of today, per the ministry's records, 169 Ghanaians have been deported to Ghana since January 2025. Of this number, 90 arrived in Ghana unaccompanied on commercial flights and 66 on chartered controlled flights supervised by ICE agents. We have made clear that deportees have rights and that they should be deported within the confines of international law. They should not be abused. Their rights should be respected. So far, our engagement with these deportees, there has not been any evidence of violation of their rights when we have engaged them.
This understanding with the United States of America, what is in it for Ghana, for our national interest and in the promotion of the public interest of Ghana?
The government of Ghana has not requested any monetary support, logistical support, any material support for this intervention. The understanding is purely on humanitarian grounds. We are Pan-Africanists. These are fellow West Africans who are in distress, being detained, being treated shabbily, without dignity, and we cannot look on as Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana.
Some more here on the morning news, and Cabinet has approved enhanced conditions of service for all diplomats working abroad. President John Mahama announced this at the swearing-in of 11 envoys as ambassadors and high commissioners. The president says the new conditions will include a waiver to import a vehicle up to 2.7-litre capacity for returning foreign service staff.
Performance indicators are not meant to burden you. They are intended to empower you. They will help the government identify support needs, reward excellence, and ensure that every mission contributes meaningfully to Ghana's national development priorities. We recognize that diplomats must be well supported to deliver on their mandates. For this reason, Cabinet has approved enhanced conditions of service for all our diplomats working abroad. Additionally, the Cabinet has approved a waiver of import duties and taxes on one vehicle for foreign service officers returning from overseas service. I was expecting you to clap. Yeah? But there's a caveat, with an engine capacity not exceeding 2.7 litres. So if you are thinking of a V8, I'm sorry. In line with our prudent budget management and the broader reset agenda, Cabinet has further approved rent ceilings for officers serving in missions abroad. This is intended to prevent waste and ensure value for money in all our foreign operations. I expect strict adherence to all protocols governing this policy. Financial discipline is integral to national renewal, and our missions must lead by example.
We return to Parliament, and the minority and majority caucuses went head-to-head on Wednesday in a fiery dispute over the cost of purchasing 4 new aircraft announced by the Finance Minister in the 2026 budget. The ranking on Foreign Affairs hinted at a sum of $1.2 billion to be used to purchase a presidential jet, an amount that sent the chamber into heated exchanges. Christian Yale brought us this report.
Mr. Speaker, I'm talking about 1.2.
That's it. So coming home now, but Ayariga&Démànd, I see DJ Media, and say POG Media there. About Ghana authentic political stories and the headlines are happening outside of my cabinet. Also, who the echo and the air ban science messages on subscribe and the accounts of your subscription. Now I share no for first so answer so it's my cabinet who the echo and the air babit means so about the comment section now so it's me adding como and I fetch media. But that's it. So Jibrina can't be